What if I told you that the exercise you've been doing every single day might actually be quietly damaging your joints and increasing your risk of injury? What I'm about to share even sent chills down my spine, and I've been researching senior exercise health for years. A major study from the American College of Sports Medicine, published in 2024, tracked over 8,000 adults aged 60 and above for 6 years. Here's what they found. People who kept doing 3 specific, seemingly healthy exercises had a 156% higher joint injury rate, an 89% higher chronic pain rate, and a 2.3 times higher probability of needing joint replacement surgery compared to those who chose the right exercises. This isn't an exaggeration. It means that starting exercise at 65, some people get stronger and stronger, while others end up with a body full of injuries. The researchers were so surprised by this gap that they partnered with sports rehabilitation institutions in the UK and Germany for cross-validation. What's even more shocking, those doing the wrong exercises actually invested 35% more time and effort than those doing the right ones. But what they got in return wasn't health, it was damage and deterioration. Their knee cartilage wore down 2.1 times faster than the control group. Their rotator cuff injury rate was 73% higher than the control group. Most concerning to researchers, 41% of them were forced to stop exercising due to exercise injuries. And once you stop exercising, your physical function declines at an alarming rate. But here's the real reason I had to share this with you. The number one dangerous exercise is precisely the one many people think is most suitable for seniors. Over 60% of people age 60 plus are doing this exercise, completely unaware of its potential harm to their bodies. Meanwhile, the 3 exercises you actually should be doing are so simple that 94% of people can start the same day, yet they can reduce exercise injury risk by 71%, while improving physical function indicators by 58%. And I saved the most critical comparison for last, because once you understand why certain exercises are safe for young people, but ticking time bombs for those over 60, you'll never choose exercises the same way again. This could be the difference between moving freely and enjoying life at 70, or being plagued by various pains starting at 65. Before we dive in, drop a comment and tell us, how old are you? What exercise do you currently do every day? And have you ever experienced pain or discomfort after exercising? We read and reply to every single comment, so write yours down below right now. All right, no more fluff. Let's get into it. First, the 3 exercises you absolutely should avoid, then the 3 exercises you must do. First up, the 3rd exercise you should avoid, high-impact running. This might surprise a lot of people because running has always been considered the simplest and healthiest exercise. But for people over 60, the situation is completely different. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy found that people over 60 who kept running had 47% faster knee osteoarthritis progression and 52% higher hip pain rates compared to peers who chose low-impact exercise. Why does running become dangerous after 60? Because every time your foot hits the ground, your knee absorbs impact force equal to 3 to 4 times your body weight. When you're young, your cartilage is thick, ligaments are strong, muscles are powerful. They can absorb this impact. But after 60, cartilage has thinned, ligament elasticity has declined, muscle has been lost. This impact force transmits directly to your bones and joint surfaces. Worse still, once cartilage wears down, it almost never regenerates. Every step you run today might be consuming your joints' remaining lifespan. Many people say, I've been running my whole life with no problems. But research shows joint damage is cumulative and often shows no obvious symptoms until reaching a critical point. By the time you start feeling pain, your cartilage may already be over 50% worn. Stanford University's research team found that among runners, over 67% showed obvious joint degeneration on X-rays, even though half of them hadn't felt any pain yet. If you truly love the feeling of running, the alternatives are brisk walking, elliptical machines, or water running. These exercises can give you similar cardio stimulus, but with only 1/10 to 1/5 of the impact force. Water running is especially worth recommending because water buoyancy reduces 90% of body weight burden, while water resistance provides additional muscle training. Next, the second exercise you should avoid: sit-ups and crunches. This might be even more surprising because training abs is practically standard in all fitness advice. But a 2024 study published in the Spine Journal clearly stated, for people over 60, traditional sit-ups and crunches are one of the main exercise factors causing lumbar disc problems. Among the tracked participants, those who kept doing sit-ups had a 61% higher rate of lumbar disc herniation and 78% higher rate of chronic lower back pain compared to those who didn't. Why is this movement so dangerous for people over 60? Sit-ups require you to repeatedly flex your spine, and each flex puts compression on your discs. When young, your discs have high water content and good elasticity. They can handle this pressure. But after 60, discs have already started dehydrating, thinning, and becoming brittle. Repeated flexion is like repeatedly bending an aging rubber band. Sooner or later, it will snap. Even more dangerous, many people use their neck to power through sit-ups, putting extra pressure on the cervical spine and causing neck problems. Professor McGill, a spinal biomechanics expert at the University of Waterloo in Canada, concluded through decades of research that sit-ups are the core training movement that should least be recommended to seniors. His laboratory measurements found that a standard sit-up generates over 3,000 newtons of compressive force on the lumbar spine, enough force to damage already degenerated discs. If you want to train your core, safe alternatives are planks and dead bugs. These movements can effectively activate core muscles without flexing the spine, putting minimal pressure on the lumbar region. We'll cover the correct plank technique in detail later. Now we arrive at the number one exercise you should avoid, and the one that worries me most: overhead press and lat pull-downs. These two movements are very common in gyms, and many people over 60 keep doing them to train shoulders and train back. But the 2023 data published in the Journal of Shoulder and Elbow Surgery is alarming. People over 60 who kept doing overhead presses had a rotator cuff tear rate 3.2 times higher than those who didn't. And those doing lat pull-downs with behind-the-neck positioning had shoulder joint injury rates 4.1 times higher. Why are these movements so deadly for people over 60? When you raise your arms overhead and apply load, your shoulder joint enters a position called the impingement zone. In this position, the space under the acromion is compressed to minimum, and rotator cuff tendons can easily get pinched and worn. When young, your rotator cuff tendons are strong and shoulder joints flexible. Occasionally entering this zone isn't a big problem. But after 60, the rotator cuff has already started degenerating and thinning. Repeatedly applying pressure in this high-risk position is like repeatedly rubbing sandpaper on an already worn rope. What's scarier is that early rotator cuff tears often don't cause severe pain, just feeling a bit sore or not quite strong. By the time pain becomes obvious, the tear is often already severe, and some even require surgery to repair. Mayo Clinic data shows that among people over 60, more than 30% already have rotator cuff tears of varying degrees. They just don't know it yet. Continuing overhead movements just accelerates the expansion of these tears. Safe alternatives: keep all arm exercises below shoulder height. For example, use dumbbell lateral raises instead of overhead press, seated rows instead of lat pull-downs. These movements work the same muscle groups but completely avoid the dangerous impingement zone. Before continuing with the 3 exercises you must do, if you're finding this helpful, hit that like button so more friends over 60 can see these important warnings. And don't forget to subscribe. We regularly post practical senior health content, and you won't want to miss what's coming up. Now let's get into the 3 exercises you absolutely should do after 60. These exercises are scientifically proven to be not only safe, but also provide the health benefits you need most at this age. The 3rd exercise you must do: chair-assisted squats. A 2024 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Gerontology, synthesizing data from 42 studies, clearly stated, chair-assisted squats are the best exercise for people over 60 to maintain lower body strength and independent living ability, bar none. People who kept doing this movement had a 73% higher rate of maintaining daily activity ability after 5 years and a 54% lower fall rate compared to those who didn't. Why is this movement so important? Because standing up from a chair, this seemingly simple action, is actually the strength pattern you use most frequently in daily life. Getting up from bed, standing up from the toilet, getting out of a car, these are all the same movement pattern. Research shows that when someone can't stand up from a standard height chair without using their hands, their all-cause mortality rate over the next 5 years increases by 2.4 times. That's why geriatric experts call this ability the dividing line of independent living. How to do it right. Stand in front of a sturdy chair, facing away, feet hip-width apart. Extend your arms forward for balance. Push your hips back first, then slowly squat down, taking 3 seconds to let your butt lightly touch the chair. Note, just a light touch. Don't sit down. Maintain muscle tension and immediately push back up, taking 2 seconds. Do 8 to 12 reps per set, 2 to 3 sets. The beauty of this movement. The chair provides safety assurance. Worst case, if you lose balance, you just sit down. As you get stronger, you can switch to a lower chair to increase the challenge. The second exercise you must do, planks. Earlier we said sit-ups are dangerous for people over 60, but that doesn't mean you don't need to train your core. In fact, core strength is more important for seniors than for young people. It's the foundation for maintaining balance, protecting your spine, and completing all daily movements. Planks are the safest and most effective way to train your core. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine found that adults over 60 who did planks daily improved core stability by 49%, reduced lower back pain rate by 52%, and had virtually zero joint injury risk. Why are planks so safe and effective? Because it's an isometric contraction movement. Your muscles are working, but your joints aren't moving. This means no repeated flexing and friction, putting almost zero pressure on joints. At the same time, planks simultaneously activate your abs, back muscles, glutes, and shoulder stabilizers. It's truly total core training. How to do it right. Lie face down, support your body on your forearms and toes, forming a straight line from head to feet. The key, don't let your hips pike up or sag down. Keep your abs tight and glutes squeezed. If standard planks are too hard, start with the knee-down version. Starting with 15 to 20 seconds is great, gradually increasing to 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 60 seconds. Do 2 to 3 sets daily. Johns Hopkins University research shows just 2 minutes total of planks per day, maintained for 8 weeks, produces significant core strength improvements. And now we finally arrive at what you've been waiting for since the beginning. The champion exercise you absolutely must do is resistance band training. Once you understand the science behind it, you'll see why it's called the most perfect strength training tool after 60 by top senior exercise medicine experts worldwide. A 2024 comprehensive study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine compared various strength training methods for effectiveness and safety in people over 60. Resistance band training led by far in the benefit-to-risk ratio metric. Why is resistance band training so special? It simultaneously solves the 2 core challenges of strength training after 60. How to get enough resistance stimulus to combat muscle loss, while not putting dangerous pressure on joints. Traditional free weights, dumbbells, barbells, have a problem. Gravity always pulls straight down. This means at some angles, resistance is high. At other angles, resistance is almost zero. Plus, when you lower a weight, your joints must break, which is significant stress on already degenerated joints. Resistance bands are completely different. They provide progressive resistance. The more you stretch, the greater the resistance. When you release, resistance naturally decreases. This resistance curve perfectly matches how your muscles generate force, while being extremely joint-friendly. The research data is impressive. Adults over 60 who kept doing resistance band training improved muscle strength by 38% after 12 weeks, an increase comparable to those using traditional gym equipment. But at the same time, their exercise injury rate was only 1/4 of equipment trainers. More importantly, their training adherence rate was 47% higher because resistance bands can be used at home. No gym needed. One band can train your whole body. How to do it right. Resistance band training can cover all major muscle groups. The three most important movements are: first, resistance band squats. Step on the band with your feet. Hold both ends at shoulder position, then squat. The band provides extra resistance as you stand up. Second, resistance band rows. Sit on the ground with legs extended. Attach the band to your feet or a fixed point, then do rowing motions to train your back. Third, resistance band chest press. Wrap the band around your back. Hold both ends. Push forward to train chest and arms. Do 12 to 15 reps per movement, 2 to 3 sets. Start with light resistance bands, switching to higher resistance as strength increases. A 3-year tracking study from Kyoto University in Japan found that adults over 60 who did resistance band training 3 times weekly slowed their muscle loss rate by 71% and bone density decline by 43%. And these two metrics are precisely the key factors determining quality of life in later years. Researchers also discovered a surprising side effect. Participants in the resistance band training group improved their balance test scores by 39% and reduced their reaction time by 23%. This is because resistance band tension isn't as stable as weights. You must constantly micro-adjust to maintain control, and this process inadvertently trains your neuromuscular coordination. For people over 60, this coordination improvement may be more valuable than pure strength gains. It directly reduces your fall risk. Here's the final summary. Today we covered 3 exercises you should avoid: high-impact running, sit-ups and crunches, overhead press, and lat pull-downs. These exercises might be good choices for young people, but for those over 60, the risks far outweigh the benefits. Continuing these exercises, you might unknowingly be consuming your joint's lifespan, planting seeds for chronic pain and surgery. At the same time, we covered 3 exercises you absolutely should do: chair-assisted squats, planks, and resistance band training. This combination of 3 exercises provides all the training stimulus you need most after 60. Lower body strength, core stability, full body muscle strength, balance ability, and neuromuscular coordination. And they all share one thing in common: extremely joint-friendly with virtually zero exercise injury risk. With all 3 exercises properly scheduled, each training session only takes 20 to 25 minutes, 3 to 4 times per week. You don't need a gym, don't need expensive equipment. A chair, a mat, and a resistance band are all you need. That American College of Sports Medicine study I mentioned at the beginning also found 82% of people who chose the right exercises were still exercising 5 years later. But for those who chose the wrong exercises, that number was only 31%. Because the pain and injuries from wrong exercises eventually forced them to give up. Giving up exercise after 60 has catastrophic consequences. Muscles waste away at 3 to 5% per year, bone density decline accelerates, balance ability rapidly deteriorates. Remember, exercise is medicine, but wrong dosage and methods turn medicine into poison. After 60, your body isn't incapable of exercise. It needs smarter exercise. Choose the right exercises and you can get stronger and stronger, enjoying high-quality later years. Choose wrong and you might get weaker and weaker, plagued by pain and injuries. This choice, starting today, is in your hands. Now it's your turn. Among the exercises you're currently doing, are any of those 3 dangerous exercises I mentioned today? Have you ever experienced joint pain or discomfort from exercise? Which safe exercise do you most want to start trying? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. We really look forward to hearing your story. Thanks for watching.